Welcome back, everybody, to the ETS Travel Podcast. I'm your host, Bethany. I'm joined by John today.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
And we are super excited to talk to you about what's the best way to connect with a potential group leader. Before we get started, I'm going to share with you from Jeremiah Chapter 29, verse 13. You will seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. And then another great one kind of on the same topic is Matthew 7, verse 7 and 8. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds. And to him who knocks, it will be opened. So I hope that encourages you as we talk about searching for a potential group leader.
Very relevant verses for this there for sure.
All right. So our big myth that we're going to bust is a group leader can only be a member of the clergy.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so a group leader, you can find group leaders in so many different areas of, obviously within faith, you're going to be looking for, a pastor or somebody in the church, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a pastor. It can also be other members of the church organization. So, you can also look into other things that you wouldn't necessarily think, would be possible. It could be, group leaders can be small group church services, and also even Sunday school teachers, or even, school teachers in general. There's a lot of potential that aren't, group leaders, they can be so much more than just pastors. It can be, like I said, Sunday school teachers, or even teachers from other backgrounds as well. So that's definitely one too.
Absolutely. Like a great idea is if you have a men's ministry at church or a women's ministry or even a men's or women's like Bible study, those are great people. There's obviously a leader, someone that's leading the devotions and things like that, or running the ministry, so they have a group of people that follow them. So you don't always have to get the lead pastor because maybe he's busy. I mean, we've had groups go that are led by choir directors. So he's taking members of the choir, and maybe they're going to sing in some of these historic churches and places they're visiting, and they invite their friends and family and other members of the church. There's all kinds of different leaders that have an audience within a church outside of the lead pastor. And, you don't even have to necessarily go with the church.
No, you definitely don't have to go with the church. There's so many avenues you could do with faith-based travel. It could be, like we said earlier, a school group, just maybe they're in a lesson or something that pertains to a specific site, and they want to dive deep into that. And that professor, teacher, says, "Hey, maybe I want to take the student group to really see what we're talking about, as opposed to just reading about it," which is always something good to do, is to experience it and then read about it and have more of a deeper connection there.
Sure. And we have high school groups that travel with us every year, a couple of them. And, one in particular is a Christian school. It's K through 12. And so the kids have been there usually the whole time. And they build it into the tuition that when they graduate high school and finish 12th grade, they go on a trip to Israel. So they've learned about their faith all throughout their school years, and then in the end, they get to go see it. We also work with alumni groups. So, for different Christian colleges and different other colleges to do meaningful trips together. There's a lot of organizations outside of the church.
Also think of yourself. You even could lead a group. I mean, some of our best group leaders are travel advisors, or even some guests that just have a big influence on the faith and everything. Some of our most successful groups and group leaders and travel advisors, they might be a tag team duo of maybe the husband or wife is the travel agent, and the spouse is the pastor, and that's a great tag team there, and that kind of cuts the the work of connecting with a group leader.
We've had mother and daughter teams, that they just decided they wanted to promote something together, or, mom's a travel agent, daughter's like, hey, I've got some friends that want to go here, and they'll organize it and put it together. You also have like Kiwanis groups and different charity organizations. Travel can be an amazing fundraiser. So that's another avenue you can look to as well. So working with a faith-based organization that maybe wants to build in some donations into their trips and things like that, that's something we absolutely can do as well.
Yeah, it's a, especially, the fundraiser part of it. That's a question we get a lot because, it's a great way to give back to the church and the community, thinking of a fundraiser. So yeah, it's definitely, doing something with travel is a great way to get a fundraiser going and help the church and the community out. And another question I know we get a lot is, how to find a group leader. So a lot of times you might even know a group leader that you don't even know has the potential to lead a group. I mean, think about the people and the connections that you have. If you attend church, you probably have connections within that church that you don't even know the potential that they could have to lead a group there.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously the easiest place to start with first is if you're attending a church, go talk to your pastor about doing a group. After that, the next thing is, if you aren't attending a church, more than likely you have at least one friend or family member that does. So, rather than sending off a bunch of letters or emails to random church leaders and stuff, people that you don't have a connection to, you can always talk to your friend like, hey, I found this great company. I really am passionate about leading faith-based programs and getting them up and going. I'd love to have, a spiritual leader or someone that's in ministry to kind of help lead the group and do the devotions and be the spiritual presence on the trip. But I'm not currently attending a church. So you start reaching out to friends that talk to them about it and see if they have the connection to get you into the church. Because that's going to work for you a lot better than if you're just blindly walking into a church you've never been to. They don't know you from Adam. They're busy people most of the time if they're working in ministry. So, it's a lot easier if you've got a friend or family member that can go and set up the meeting for you.
And of course, it's not impossible to do it that way, but the best way to do this is honestly working with people that you know personally or people that you could be introduced to through a mutual contact. I understand, a lot of people, life takes us in different directions. You may have moved to a different state, maybe attending a new church, and it's definitely not impossible to, build a relationship from scratch. We've seen it before. It just might take a little bit more time, and that's where we're here to help with that. So definitely, use us as a resource to help get started with that. But, most of the time, your potential group leader is somebody that you already know or have a mutual contact with. And, also, if maybe one church isn't, in a time, or maybe they're going through a transition, maybe they're getting a new building, or maybe they're going through a different transitional period within the church leadership, and they don't have the capacity to lead a group at this particular time, always ask for referrals too. Pastors are very well connected. They have a huge network of other pastors that have the hunger to do faith-based travel. It just takes you to really push that door down and really start knocking and getting and shaking the trees and seeing what falls out, for lack of better words there.
Yeah, relationship first. It is always so much easier. You can buy lists of churches, you can get cold call lists and email lists and things like that. But again, most people get so many emails. Like my personal email, I get home, I have no desire to go through it. It's just, 100 ads from different people that want my attention and things like that. So having some kind of relationship built or some kind of recommendation, it's going to be so much easier to make that connection, because everything about faith-based travel is definitely relationships. And that's why we push, it's really about fellowship and building relationships.
And some travel advisors, even they're personally on fire because of the possibilities of faith-based travel, and it inspires them so much to where, they post something on Facebook, and, you might even have friends on social media. That's another huge tool that, is becoming such a big part of, promoting anything. I mean, you go on social media, there's ads for everything. Just, use who you might even have on your friends list on Facebook, even LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, you may be having connections that are there that would fit the bill that you don't even know about. So again, use all of the tools that you have to really find a group leader, because nowadays there's so much. I know, my father and, our founder of the company back in the day before, social media and everything was really big, a lot of this was, going door to door to churches, having a bag of brochures. I remember hearing stories of, going to a church with a bag of brochures, and, some of them like the idea, some of them don't, but social media and the internet takes so much of that work out of your daily routine of trying to make this successful. So definitely, use your connections on social media. You'll be surprised how many people you might already have or through a mutual contact.
Oh, sure. Because especially when it comes to faith-based travel, a lot of people have never even thought about it.
Absolutely.
They may have seen advertisements for some of the big gospel cruises and things like that, and they think that's the extent of faith-based travel. And they may have always been curious, especially to have done like a Bible Land program or go to the Holy Land. But, if I'm just an individual and I'm not well-traveled, I've always been curious to maybe go to Israel and go to the Holy Land. But, there's multiple companies offer this. I don't know anybody that's gone, so I'm just not going to go out there and do it. But if I'm scrolling through my social media feed and I see that there's my friend that's a travel agent and she's like, oh yeah, here's all about going to the Holy Land and I want to put together a group and go, you'll be surprised by how many people might reach out to you because they're going to feel connected. They have the relationship with you. They trust you. And they're like, oh, you found a company. I've always been curious to do this. I'd love to do this with you.
Like the story I explained earlier, back in the day before social media, you have to really go door to door kind of to do this stuff. With social media now, the tools that are available to you at your fingertips at any given time of day, you have the ability to reach people on the other side of the country, on the other side of the world, and introduce that possibility of faith-based travel. And somebody that might come across your post might be your next group leader that can really, take your business to the next level. So definitely, use that to your advantage, because it's an advantage that, wasn't always available to us, that definitely should be utilized for sure. And we're always here to help with that too. We have pretty much seen everything as far as, travel advisors that are already set up to travel advisors that have to build this thing from scratch. We've seen it all and we can work with it all. So we definitely, have strategies to help you out. And we look forward to, assisting you and making that something very successful for you there.
Yeah.
Next time, we'll be busting more myths about what journey to pitch to a group or group leader. You definitely don't want to miss that one. So, again, may the Lord bless you all. We definitely look forward to continuing this podcast. And, of course, it's not possible without you, the listeners, giving us your support. We love each and every one of our valued listeners and partners. So definitely don't forget to like the show, subscribe, leave us a review, give us a call, tell us how we're doing. Your words of encouragement definitely mean a lot to us. And until next time, may the Lord bless you.
See you soon.